This is 11 Personnel. I'm Nick Roush. He's Adam Luckett. We are alive here in the middle of February for a shenanigan-filled show brought to you by our friends at Monticello Bank, longtime proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel since 1895. These guys right here, see that? They've been serving the Commonwealth. We've been to a couple of their branches. They've got them all over the place, 21 different locations across the Commonwealth. One in North Hurstbourne, Louisville. We also been to the one off Harrodsburg Road, and I guess that's technically Nicholasville. Like it's like right on that. It's kind of like when you're going down Preston Highway, you're like, is this Jefferson County? Is it Bullitt County? I don't really know, but it all feels kind of the same. We dabbled there. They're everywhere, so go check them out. If you can't get everywhere, NBCBank.com is where you can get them online. They got the best rates on whatever it may be. Home buying season right around the corner. Shop for your mortgage at Monticello Bank. They'll get you the best rate possible. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsor of 11 Personnel. Mr. Luckett, how's it going, buddy?
It's going pretty good for middle of February. Yeah, middle of February. Just watching the snow melt over here.
Oh, man. It makes me so happy because I think as some of our listeners know, we're trying to do the running thing. Very hard to do the running thing when there's that much snow and ice on the ground.
Well, I run a 10K a week from Saturday, so I'll know where I'm at here. I've been battling a little stomach bug. I think I got Baker sick. He got a little stomach bug at daycare. I've been battling it, so I haven't feel behind now with the training. So
the old stomach stinger.
Yeah, today was the first day I ran in not a full week, but almost a week. So that's not good, a week before you're going to go on a run.
Which is like what, 7.5 miles, give or take?
Six and change.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you got that. It's just, it's a long hour.
Yeah,
Just a long hour.
And we'll be running through the Strip in Vegas, so that'll be interesting views, I think. Middle of the day, too, in Vegas. It's not like most runs are in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe it's at like 4 p.m., 4 or 5 p.m.
I mean, there's going to be people hammered drunk, stumbling out of the casino.
I don't know. I'm not going to know what to do with myself, waiting for the race to start. That's going to be the worst part of our trip out there. It's just like, what do I do here? But as soon as it's over, then the good times will be on. But
they'll be rolling. I don't know how. I will say the unfortunate part about being in that city, I feel like that's a big walking around city. And
it can be if you want it to be, but it also you could just stay in a little corridor section and not leave. Really,
you can just go post up at a slot machine. No, you know what you need to do? You need to get one of those scooters for your recovery day and do the old man where you just keep hitting the buttons and you go around the circle, just hitting the slot machines.
Yeah, but you go to some of these big casinos like Caesars and BetMGM. I mean, the thing's so big, you could feel like you're in a different place. Really, like it's easy. Like in Caesars, it's easy to get lost. The place is just. I mean, Caesars will live there. It's philosophy.
That is one thing. I mean, you mentioned MGM. You can use your BetMGM app to get hotel points to stay out there. So I hope you cashed in on those, Mr. Luckett. I hope you did. Tonight we're going to have a little fun, right? Because we could do Kentucky football storylines and all that, but we got all off season. Just let's have some fun, right? So we're going to have some fun tonight. We're sharing. It's what a sport. You've heard Luckett say it plenty of times. The sport's ridiculous. We have a what a sport moment today. Before we get to that, I saw your titles hat, and it reminded me of what happened Sunday. I'm not talking about the Super Bowl because that sucked. That was boring. Did you see Hideki Matsuyama's final 2 holes at Waste Management, Mr. Luckett?
I did not, but I read about him.
So he led pretty much the whole day. He's won out there twice before, I think in back-to-back years, about 10 years ago. And he gets to 18 with the 1-shot lead, and it's like, just don't mess this up. Well, he messed it. I mean, it was one of those kind of not even relatable, but I kind of like seeing a golfer of his stature humbled every once in a while because he hit it into the little pews on the side, the sand traps, and then he didn't like clear it cleanly out. It like skipped off of the grass, so he couldn't even really get it near the green, and it was like I got to get up and down. Gets it to the second deck of this green, and then his long putt comes up, and this is where the hijinks started happening, right? Mm-hmm. He's already in his own head about the way he's playing. Well, then those planes that carry the banners, they're flying around the green, and it starts casting a shadow over the hole.
Yeah, the whole thing sounded like just a disaster.
And that's right about when one of the guys said get in the hole too early, and Hideki like stopped in his backswing.
I saw that, yeah.
So naturally, he just pulls up, gets back over top of the ball, misses the putt. Then they go to a playoff hole, him and Chris Goddard. And I didn't realize this when I was watching it in real time. I just heard the noise. But somebody that works for the tournament just dropped a chair in the middle of his backswing.
Yeah.
And then what does he do? He hits it into the damn water. Like he stopped himself in the middle of the shot, and he had the look that I don't know. You've given that look to your friends sometimes, right? When they're just being jerks on the golf course, and you want to like, He had that look to him, but then he stands back over the ball, hits it in the water, and Chris Goddard wins the tournament. I'm not the most locked in golf observer. Right, like it's a fun Sunday. Like just pop on the final round, kind of see what happens. That was a rare treat waiting for the Super Bowl to get started. Just watching the weirdest meltdown of all meltdowns, one that makes you realize, like, hey, these guys are head cases. They're psychos, but psychos are also they have Achilles' heels as well, and his got exposed on Sunday.
Yeah, I definitely felt like Goddard walk backwards into that one, but take them when you can get them.
He had like 3 birdies in his first 9 of the tournament that started today too. So great name. That feels like a funny, punny name, but we don't need to spend more time talking about that. I wanted to make a list of all the silly stuff. It's a lot of stuff that sometimes we get to on our shows, but we had to spend a lot of time talking about Mark Stoops' contract this year, so we didn't get to have as much fun like it. I feel like mid-February is a good time to just remind people of how stupid the sport can be. And Trinidad Chambliss and the Magnolia State, they gave that to us today, brother. They gave it to us real good.
Yeah, I felt like something out of Curb.
What?
Like the judge taking an hour and a half to unveil his ruling is a Curb episode. Like that's the episode is that Larry has to sit in the courthouse for 2 hours, and then he misses something because
come on,
yeah,
he's doing. Come on, we all know what he's going to do. You're going to get out of here, Yeah. Of all of the, because I tuned into some of it when they were actually interviewing Chambliss because, man, hearing those lawyers talk, it was straight out of Central Casting. But there were some other clips. Did you have a personal favorite clip out of all of the clips that came from Trinidad Chambliss's temporary injunction hearing in the state of Mississippi?
I would just say, the whole thing in its entirety was just silly. That was my big takeaway.
I think it was a good reminder to sports Twitter, which I'm really locked into college football Twitter, but I bet like our boy Aaron Gershon was seeing Giants Twitter light up in amazement and amusement that Joe Judge is at Ole Miss. That's a definite, like, people forget that Joe Judge is a quarterback's coach at Ole Miss and was once the head coach of the New York Giants. And then two, having him The clip I liked more wasn't the one that went viral. The one that went super viral was him talking about like when players have pregnant wives or pregnant girlfriends, like he's not going to be up every night. He needs to get his rest. That one went really viral. But the one I appreciated more was the judge saying, "Oh, So can you slow down here? The New York accent. He was talking too fast for them to understand.
Yeah, I think Judge is from Mississippi, though. I think he was in New England for so long. He might have got lost that Mississippi accent.
He's getting the Pat Bradley crossover between
Yeah.
Masshole and Arkansas.
Well, also like the judge, you're right. He asked him to slow down. Trinidad gets asked about the final play in the game against Miami in the semifinal.
They wanted it on record if he thought it was pass interference or not.
His mom's on the stand. Lane Kiffin is quote tweeting about Joe Judge today. Just nonsense. Just absolute nonsense. And then it ends how you think it would end, with the local judge presiding over State U benefits. So local government becoming the appeals committee is kind of doesn't seem like necessarily a fair shake there. But what are you gonna do?
It also was funny to see that the NCAA was like, no, we are denying this. It was like some sort of ruling came out as this was all unfolding. It was a very silly scene. And the part that I think really hit home was you had all these sports reporters covering it. And it just reminded me of the degree of shenanigans that an Ole Miss football beat reporter has gone through this year. We thought we had a crazy time.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going through this list, I think you could just put the Ole Miss ride could just be on the list.
Best season in 60 years, followed up by coach basically in a, for the lack of a better term, pissing contest with the AD about whether he gets to coach his team through the playoff or not.
Right. I mean, they've just had everything, right? They even had like the quarterback change, right?
Oh, yeah.
They talk about Austin Simmons really all offseason.
Yeah.
He's going to be this next great quarterback. And then he plays like 6 quarters and then they just turn it over to Chambliss. And then like they have a 5-week period where it's like, is Simmons going to come back? How's Lane going to handle this? And they just kind of, avoided it for as long as they could. And then finally it was just like, well, they're just playing this guy because he's better. So we'll stop asking about this. And all of that, and then you pivot directly into the Lane LSU thing, and then you go out of that, you go in the playoff, and then you get out of that, you go to all the coaching. You get out of that, Pete Golding versus Dabo. You get out of that, you've got an injunction case. So, you could write a book on it. Like, honestly, like if I was on the Ole Miss beat, I would be writing a book on it.
OM Spirit Ben. What's his handle? Ben Garrett, who covers it for
Ben Garrett, I think, with Ole Miss Spirit.
Yeah.
Spirit Ben, I think, is
Spirit Ben. Handle. There we go. Is his handle. He was the one who like Wayne got into it with because he used the line, "You can't make a hoe out of a housewife." And
he was on a live stream, Nick, for 8 hours today. Yeah, over 8 hours.
They were just live covering the court. They had people. So I think they had people at the courthouse, and then he was back live. And yeah, they were just live the entire time, which is.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, like, the only thing I could really compare what today was to was, when Maurice Clarett tried to sue the NFL. That's one for the eligibility rules. Mm-hmm. And the other one was just where a fan base would have been so locked in on a court case would have been the Karen Cypher and the Karen Cypher stuff.
Except the Karen Cypher wasn't like we didn't have this like magnitude of coverage,
Like I wonder how Matt would have covered that if we had the tech we have now.
Yeah,
right?
if it was peek in the back of the courtroom with the camera, like. We're live on YouTube, and Matt is firing off tweets and God knows what. Yeah, that's I can't even imagine it. And you know what? It basically it was the first. It's what put the site on the map early on.
That was early Twitter.
Yeah, very early. That's probably what got me on Twitter, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I think it's what got a lot of Kentucky people on Twitter for sure. Was that whole ordeal?
Yeah, but that was a different ordeal. We're going to talk about a few other ordeals. We'll shift into some more Kentucky stuff too, as well as some of the big picture college football. But we do need to talk about our friends at BetMGM. Maybe we'll get stops at the MGM Grand place a sportsbook out there. You don't need to go to the MGM Grand to get all of the best wagering options. The wagering menu is stacked at BetMGM. You just download the app. And when you sign up, use bonus code ON3, and you're going to get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if your bet doesn't hit. And it doesn't really matter what you're betting on, right? It could be college baseball's around the corner. Pitchers and catchers have reported, which means opening day's around the corner. We're in the meat and potatoes of college basketball season. NBA is happening. And the best part is, no matter the sport, BetMGM has bonus tokens for you left, right, center, wherever it may be. So go ahead, download that app right now. You're going to receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets when you use bonus code ON3 when you sign up, and a 50% off annual subscription to ON3. So don't waste any more time. Download the BetMGM app today. Use that bonus code ON3 when you sign up. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. 1-877-OPEN-NY. Text HOPE-NY. You can call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. That first bet offers for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. All right, Mr. Luckett, you are the man who enlightened us with this wonderful catchphrase. It is your catchphrase after all. So what was the most what a sport moment from this last year? You can take us the Kentucky direction. You can anywhere you want to go. I'm passing you the sticks, Mr. What a Sport guy.
I mean, the biggest story in the summer, and really the biggest story all year, is going to end up being the biggest story during the draft and up through the draft in the summer. It's Arch Manning. Like, nothing is more college football than the Arch Manning thing, right? Like, he gets, crowned.
Yep.
Right? I mean, remember what Paul? I can't remember what Paul said, but
it was the most hyped since Tim Tebow.
Right. I mean, everyone's talking about him. They play in the premier week 1 game, and then he goes from most hyped to people saying he sucks. Right. I remember the Kentucky Texas week specifically. Everyone wanted to say, "Oh, I said Arch sucks." Right. Arch sucks. Make sure you heard it from me. And I think I've even been on here. I was like, he doesn't suck. He's just kind of first. I think you could go back first year quarterback. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
And now he does. He plays well in the bowl game, right?
Oh yeah.
And we've already started the cycle.
Oh yeah.
You see that I see the national media folks. They'll be talking about the draft, and the big storyline with this draft, Nick, is going to be the quarterback's not very good, but 2027 loaded. And it starts with Arch Manning. We're doing the same thing again. Nothing is more. That was the most college football thing of all time, and we're going to recycle it. That to me was leaving this season. That was just the most college football thing, because I think sometimes you get blamed on the draft people, but I thought personally it was a lot of college football people driving that. Storyline.
Well, they were driving it too on your first takes and get ups, right? Like the shows that reach outside of just college football, because Manning is a name that just yeah, exactly. So the media days there, that was quite an experience. I thought for as bad as things got, and there was the injury stuff. What was the Sark thing? Do you make faces when you poop?
Well, he had the shoulder. You saw he made a face. I can't remember.
He's like, "Do you make a face when you poop?" I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, the whole Arch experience was.
That was.
I think by about November, people just got tired of it, and so he kind of got to fly under the radar, and they're out of playoff contention.
Right, and then that's when he started playing well. and seemingly kind of busted through that first year starter's block.
But even then, like you go back and look at the last couple games, like he played well against Arkansas. Arkansas was terrible. Arkansas had one of the worst SEC defenses in recent memory. Like I think this year at media days they're going to pull stats saying like Arkansas had the worst. This is why Arkansas is going to be better because they can't be any worse on defense. Then he didn't really play well against A&M. They won the game really because of their defense, I thought. And then it was
he had the big run. He had the big run, and that was kind of the
yeah. And then the Michigan game, he played. I mean, he played fine. I'm not saying, but he didn't play great. I don't think in that game. And then the Michigan game, he played really well. But like it was against like all of Michigan. Like remember, Biff was. They were just a mess. Michigan was at that point.
Yeah.
Of the year, they were doing Whittingham had just got hired, and to me, that was the most kind of what a sport moment because it's like who could have seen this. He's first year starter. There's going to be some up and downs, and the takes on both sides were just ridiculous, right? The takes of on the beginning were ridiculous, and then when he's just struggling, everyone I felt like everyone wanted to personally say he's bust. And it was like, can he play more than 7 games before we declare him a bust?
No, of course not. It's college football. Come on. When I think back on the 2025 season. This one's a little more personal for me. And in my house, sometimes things stick with me, right? Like, I don't know if you ever watched the Tim Robinson show, I Think You Should Leave, but there's one skit where it's like a Johnny Cash bit. And at one point he starts singing about their bones are their money. So now in our house, we say their bones are their money all the time. Well, there was something said after a Kentucky football game. Maybe Pete can play the clip for us. And now it is one thing that I think I say every single day of the week. It is a part of my day-to-day conversations with other people. And I hope it's like this for everybody else around Big Blue Nation.
And obviously it's something we'll take a look at. We'll have to take a look at it. We got to take a look at it. We're always looking at it. We got to take a look at it. And we'll take a look at the film. We got to take a look at it and go from there. We got to take a look at it, as you guys know.
So essentially, if I like to tell people that I'm going to pull a Bush here. I'm going to pull a Bush, which means I'll take a look at it. So Bush Hamdan gave us that gift, and the best part about it, Luckett, is I was there for that whole conversation, and I remember after the game, I didn't notice it at the time, and then I'm trying to write about what he said, and I'm like, that son of a bitch just said I'm going to take a look at it the whole time. He didn't say anything.
What game was that? South Carolina? Or not South Carolina, Ole Miss?
I think it was Ole Miss, right, Peak?
It was early in the year.
It was Ole Miss.
Yeah. And then the next day he was like, should I supercut this? And I'm like, dude, screw it. Let it rip. I don't care. We'll just put it on the main KSR account. We won't put our names on it. And oh man, that's a gift that keeps on giving.
A couple things here. KSR's new to the message board game. In the message board communities, you got sayings that just stick and just stay forever.
Yeah.
KSR's had some of that, right? With the ceiling.
Bond that bridge.
15 seconds.
Right.
There's some other ones. Hey Hunters is another one, right?
That's a good one, yeah.
They've had some, but message board's a little unique because it's a different type of community.
Yeah.
And this is one that will.
It's sticking around.
One is like Chin Coleman not knowing the login. That's one that'll stay around. Whenever Chin Coleman is brought up, it'll be, what's your login? What's my login?
Yeah.
Then the other one is this. Whenever Bush Hamdan comes up, for as long as KS Board's around, someone will reply. Did he take a look at it?
Well, if somebody asks us a question, that's a great response. You know what? I'm gonna have to Bush Hamdan this one, and it
will live. It won't live forever, but it will live for a long time.
Which surprisingly lived longer than motivated Mark Stoops. Which that came
again. He threw he was like Marshall from Paw Patrol, got out the water cannons and just totally obliterated that.
So that one didn't last. But my question for you, Luckett, will take a look at it. Will that last longer than another big one? Garrett, get your money right. Which one will have more staying power?
I think the latter will. Garrett, get your money right actually was funny, and I think it maybe like if Stoops would have got it turned around potentially, and ended like on a good note, I think that one could have had some staying power. But I think most people have forgotten about that. I've forgotten about that now until you just said that.
What's wild is because at the time as it happened, I mean, we have to go through the decision-making process of, is this do we just let it go, or do we have to post this? Do we have to write about it? And it took off like lightning. And I think that was a night where I was working the night and you were like, let me just go ahead and get this out here. And it just took off like lightning. And within 24 hours, it's on the front page of CBS Sports talking about how Zach Calzada is the poster child for NIL disaster, but basically like, here's what not to do. Pay a quarterback who stinks $1 million and then goes and looks like an idiot. But the reverse it was like a really rough 24 hours. And then Garrett called into KSR and he sounded like total toolbag troll. I
think it happened right after the Auburn win. So I think that was all there in Florida week. So they finally had a good moment, and they finally fans were upset because they won some section of the fan base, but they finally had like a good moment. And you looked at the schedule, like, well, they got Florida at home, Vandy, maybe they're still Vandy, Louisville. Maybe there's a chance they can maybe carve something out of this. And that kind of it was like, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. And that's kind of what that was for, I would say 24 to 36 hours. And then it kind of turned it upside down.
Yeah, because in the Florida game, they were doing the money celebration as they kind of rained it up on them. I mean, that was the amount of interceptions that Lagway got benched in that game. It was a little tight for a quarter, and then they just kind of beat the brakes off of them.
But back to take a look at it, I just think even moving on, I think it was better for the shelf life of take a look at it, because now it's fun to joke about.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been as fun, I think, for the fans to joke about. We talked, even this time last year, we talked about how important the Ole Miss and South Carolina games were. I would like to to be a fly in that building, the Sunday they get back from South Carolina, what it really was and what it really felt like, and what the conversations people were having in there, because the season did fill over after that happened. And take a look at it was kind of the first, kind of acknowledgement of that. It was kind of like, well, I don't know. We'll see.
And I think the fact that the reason why it'll have staying power too is because of the position it came from. And Mark Stoops couldn't really figure out offensive coordinator. When he did, they were rocking and rolling, right? They had a night, that was the peak of their run, but he couldn't figure it out again. And it's still just shocking to me to look at that. Will Stein has had 2 4,000-yard passers in the last 4 years. The last time Kentucky had a 3,000-yard passer, I was a resident on the 21st floor at Kerwin Tower. That building has been torn down for, 8 years? That's insane. That is insanity. You cannot go that long without a competent passing attack. So it's good that we get to move on from it. Now we can kind of laugh at it instead of taking a look at how Bush Hamdan is going to fix it this offseason.
Yeah. If you didn't listen to the episode last week, I would highly recommend going back. It's towards the end, but we just talked about.
Yeah.
It's what it would have looked like if, say, they would have won the Louisville game and he would have ran it back. It's kind of, shaky. They're scary to think about, really, because it's what it would. It could have got, you thought last year was ugly. It could have gotten even uglier if that's the path they headed down.
What do you got next? What a sport. Give me one at the top of your list. Cause if I have
Yeah.
my favorite offseason story too. Preseason, midseason, all of the season story.
LSU Clemson week 1 and the takes from that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like every year we almost have a week 1 game where it's like, well, that's it. LSU, they are the team to beat. That was kind of the take coming out of that game. Brian Kelly LSU finally wins a road game. And then it was all for naught. That both teams end up not being very good.
I mean, it's kind of similar to Penn State with that. Who was the whiteout game against? It was against Oregon. Yeah. And
Oregon ended up being good, though.
Yeah. They ended up having a chance.
LSU Clemson was just a mid-off, like, in hindsight.
Which very funny to see, some of the preseason playoff projections where it's like Penn State, LSU in the title, or Penn State, Clemson. The week 1 game I have, though, is I liken it because you're right. I feel like in the NFL, it's usually more shocking. Like the team that lost the Super Bowl lost to the Raiders in week 1, and that Raiders team might have been the most pathetic football team. I mean, it was one of the more sad football teams I've ever watched.
Yeah, see, I forgot they lost to the Raiders until we talked about it. I was like, wow.
It's crazy. Not as crazy as Thomas Castellanos and Gus Malzahn beating Alabama in week 1. And Alabama was clearly a flawed team, and I think we saw their flaws in this game. I wrote it down here. Guess how many rushing yards Alabama had in that game, Luckett?
Oh, not very many.
87. Florida State had 230. Thomas Castellanos and what turned out to be a crappy Florida State team. They win 5 games. I don't think they got to 6, right?
Yeah, they lost. They were 5-6 and lost to Florida. Peyton Ball ran like 300 yards. Yeah.
And one of their 5 wins was with their quarterback making 14 pass attempts and just putting it on Alabama. An Alabama team that won at Georgia, right? And they were the number 1 seed going to the SEC championship game, correct?
Alabama?
Yeah, or was it?
I can't remember because A&M was 1 for a while, and then they lost, and the tiebreakers were weird.
But nevertheless, they played in an SEC championship game.
Yeah.
And then they won a playoff game with this huge dramatic comeback. And I know they were flawed and they couldn't run at all, but that result just shocking. I mean, Gus Malzahn retired at the end of this year. It was so bad. Like, this was his lifeline, and that terrible team beat Alabama.
Our friends at War Chant, they were fired up about the whole Malzahn situation. Jeff Cameron, who hosts kind of a daily show for them, War Chant, on their YouTube channel. I went and watched it when the Malzahn turned it on as background noise while I was doing some other work. And that whole situation, man, you want to talk about dysfunction and just, up the creek with no paddle. That's what that was. Like the whole Gus experiment was just an awful existence for them, and that they waited this long and all of that. They were trying. Gus was trying to get out to get another head coaching job, couldn't find one. And they basically made it sound like he was just like, I'm not doing this. Screw this. But he wasn't easy to work with. He was doing no recruiting. It was a disaster is what it sounded like. And now that outfit beat Alabama week 1 is just, it's not even, that's kind of the DeBoer thing, man. He could beat anybody but lose to anybody.
Which the Gus situation in Florida State, not so different than his former school at Auburn. So what was your favorite Auburn football story this year? Was it Hugh Freeze's golf game?
Golf stuff was good.
Was it the 3 offensive coordinators? Or was it Ashton Daniels coming in and actually being awesome?
My favorite was him asking the AD for a vote of confidence. That was my favorite from Auburn's season. We were driving home from Lexington and we heard that on Feinbaum. I just started laughing out loud, cackling.
Oh, one that didn't become a story that I just found out about afterwards, but apparently they were paying kids just to take visits. It was like well, they got all these 5-stars on campus. It's like, well, they're paying them to take visits, and they just never show up again. It's like you were talking about dysfunction, man. I mean, they had it all. The golf stuff was I thought the Hugh Freeze golf stuff was the most college football thing ever because it took an AL.com reporter of like,
but it had legs to it. There was real it was documented. Like
he was investigating his handicap.
So once it gets out there, people start looking into it. It's like, yeah, this is it was what people were talking about in Auburn. Like he's playing golf a lot. He's out at this club a ton. Doesn't feel like it was like a real thing. Like once you kind of like it was a joke, but it wasn't like at the same time. Because they came back. I can't remember who wrote the feature on it. And they interviewed people at the country club, and they had all the rounds he played, and it was like it wasn't.
It was a lot.
And they had quotes, I think, from him to other people about he was like dead serious about his golf game, like a little too serious about it for what you're paying anybody to have a full-time job for when they're sneaking away to play rounds that don't have anything to do with work.
Oh man, that story.
And remember they said it's his wife that played or something.
Yeah, because they had a staining tee time.
But I think it was just his wife's name. I think it was him out there playing.
And meanwhile, he had an uber talented roster that they just
it was
never could figure out the quarterback. Man,
one of the worst
coach teams.
I don't know, coached just how to use your personnel functionally. Like you got all these you should be able to figure that out, and that they didn't. I mean, even at the end, they kind of figured it out. Like they were competent when Freeze left against Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
in Alabama.
It was, and that's the part that that's why he doesn't have their job anymore. But just how can you not come up with a decent game plan with all that talent? I mean, I know the quarterback position relies a lot. Well, just make it as idiot-proof as possible. One thing I'll say about Jackson Arnold, at least he didn't do what the last guy did and just get games to the other team. Peyton Thorne was just like, oh, you know what? We're going to win. Let me just throw an interception right to you. Oh, man, Auburn football. There was a lot of entertainment from Auburn this year. What else you got for us?
Yeah, Duke wins the ACC and doesn't get a bid to the playoff. Every sport, whether schedules are unbalanced or not, they have protocols built in, rules and regulations. It's one of the biggest ones in all sports is if you win a division, win a subsect of a league, you get an automatic bid to the postseason. Duke does that. And they just decide, nope, we're going to give it to someone else. Essentially, that was what they did.
The funniest part of it, is that these power conferences tried to create a playoff system in the most convoluted ass way to make sure that crazy scenarios didn't happen, to ensure that their best teams got in. Right? Like there's all these caveats. This year, Notre Dame can get in if they're ranked in the top 12 or something like that. Like they tried to build in as many layers of protection as possible. So they tinkered this thing to death. And then immediately Duke's like, break glass in case of emergency. We just hit it. That in and of itself. And then not only does that happen, but the quarterback that they paid $1 gazillion to be their quarterback signs a 2-year deal with them, but then did Duke sue him? Was that right? Duke sued him for his NIL, or
they countered sue saying they own the NIL rights, and they came to some type of settlement, which I believe was some type of payment back towards Duke. But the Duke year in general, right? You go and get Mensa.
Yeah,
got some expectations. They go 1-3 outside of the AC. 1-4, I guess. Did they lose their bowl game?
They got their they lost their bowl. Well, I can't remember.
They played in the Sun Bowl. I can't remember. Well, let's
Arizona State,
about.
Maybe
I can't remember who won that game. 1-3,
but they got their ass kicked by Illinois at home in week 2.
6-2 or 7-2, I believe, in the ACC.
They lost to UMass, right?
Lost to UConn.
UConn. Sorry, wrong. Northeast school. Yeah, lose to Mensa's former team in Tulane, who made the playoff, right? Which, I don't. While we're on it, the fact that Tulane made the playoff after losing their quarterback to Duke, who didn't make it, they did it with Jake Retzlaff at quarterback. Jake Retzlaff was not always supposed to be their quarterback. He was the BYU quarterback who had some sexual misconduct allegations that ended up, any charges got dropped, but it was a violation of the honor code. So he got kicked out late in the year. BYU was in the playoff hunt the entire year. They just couldn't beat Texas Tech. If they win one of those games, they might have gotten in.
Right.
They did that all without Retzlaff. Retzlaff wasn't supposed to be their quarterback. You know who was supposed to be their quarterback?
Well, they
This
got
guy.
18 well, yes, he was one of the 18 transfers that Summerall landed last offseason.
Summerall kind of went back, fell back asswards into Jake Retzlaff, who was just good enough to get him in the playoff. This was one of the guys that he initially signed up for, TJ Finley, who I believe started his career he started at LSU, went to Auburn.
Correct. Started games for Auburn. It
Didn't
started games
go
for
well.
LSU, I believe. LSU is of the COVID team in 2020, I believe.
That's correct. That's correct.
He has a good year at Texas State with G.J. Kinney. I believe that's G.J. Kinney's first year. They go to the bowl game. That's probably the best year he had.
Yeah, which is why Summerall was like, all right, we'll take a chance on this guy. Why the heck not?
Mhm.
Well, that's when the stolen car thing happens. Can't really be doing that. Oh, I forgot about the Western Kentucky year. That's sprinkled in there somewhere too. I don't really know when he went to Western Kentucky, but
See, I think, was he at Tulane this year or was it the year before when they had Mensa?
it was 2025 was when he got arrested in the spring of 25 because he ends up. So I guess it was Texas State in 23, Western in 24. Yeah, I've got it pulled up here.
Okay, okay.
Crazy is he sucked at Western, but Summerall still took him. I don't know why he took him. He was terrible. At Western, he completed 64% of his passes, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Didn't even start. I mean, only had 75 pass attempts. So maybe he was hurt. I don't know what the deal was.
He was in and out of the lineup at Georgia State this year.
But
bad, awful Georgia State team.
The reason why he didn't end up at Tulane, though, is because he had a stolen car. He was driving a stolen car around New Orleans in the spring. So he gets kicked off the team and, ends up for a bad Georgia State team. I don't know how he still has eligibility, but he is going to Incarnate Word, which the home of Zach Calzada. We're back to full circle. Crazy.
Yeah, that's just the era in a nutshell.
That graphic too was just that's a fun graphic. And the part that always just shocks me though, like it is like outside of that 1 year with G.J. Kinney, he's stuck. I mean, he had 1,200 yards last year, but a lot of just
Texas State was good, but they had a receiver, Ted Hurst, who's probably going to go off in the second round. But other than that, they've been bad. Del McGee, old Georgia running backs coach, is the head coach there. It's not going well. They'll probably be in the carousel next year.
Is that where the St. X Tigers coach was? Landis? Was he Georgia State?
He spent a couple years there. Yeah, that was back when I think Sean Elliott was the head coach, the guy who left like middle of like right before spring football ended or right before it started. He left to go back to South Carolina after like 5 or 6. He actually did a good job at Georgia State. But
they had the interim coach was the strength coach, which was another what a sport, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a few more to get to. Maybe we'll do a little rapid fire, but first, going to tell you about our friends of Cole, friendsofcolekentucky.org. Go visit it today. Find out more about what Cole can do for you, for the state, for the industry. Cole is resilient, reliable, and affordable. And they're here. They're a friend of you. They're a friend of me. Friends of Cole, friendsofcolekentucky.org. Check it out today. All right, look it. I have a couple more loaded in the chamber. Remember when Shane Beamer called out Jay Boulware in his post-game interview after beating Kentucky?
Yeah, that kind of gets lost in kind of the crazy stuff that happened this football season. But yeah, I do remember that.
Because that South Carolina team sucked. We told you that then. We've kind of joked with some of their fans that it was a race to the bottom of the SEC. It turns out it pretty much was. Kentucky actually won more SEC games than South Carolina. That was South Carolina's only SEC win the whole year. They were bad at football, but afterwards, Shane Beamer was like, "Oh, you know what Beamer ball is?" And it was all from a quote that was on our YouTube channel with Jay Boulware that nobody published anywhere except on our YouTube channel. So, thanks for watching, Shane.
Yeah, I had
memory hold that one
about that. The one I didn't write down, but one I just remembered the Beamer going into the crowd at A&M. Like, I guess he wasn't necessarily mocking the A&M crowd, but just like his antics, and then for them to come like lose that game
was it 31 points at halftime and they lost?
I think it was 31-0 or something.
Yeah, I was wanting to
say they lost 30. I think they lost 35-31.
30-31 was the final score.
30-30, so 30-0.
Yeah, they were up 30-3. 30-3.
30-3
at halftime and lost 31-30. Crazy. What else you got, Mr. Luckett?
Yeah, that's pretty much my list right there
Okay.
that I came up with off the cuff. But I'll probably think of some more as we get into it. Louisville eating beans after the bowl. That was very
amusing.
much college football.
Vince Marrow tweeting from the sideline. Just multiple times. I mean, that guy was ready to take a victory lap.
I'll have one like UK one centric here. Okay. I think part of the issue with I think Kentucky fans don't really know what to think about this Kentucky basketball team. Because I sense it right now. People are getting too hyped heading into this Florida game. Like, Florida's better. It's going to take a really good effort for Kentucky to win.
Yeah, something crazy.
But just a couple weeks ago, people were acting like Arkansas was the Lakers, right? Like Kentucky wasn't even good. Like, why even show up? But it's like, these teams kind of go back and forth. Well, college football is really like that. How you can yo-yo.
Yeah, especially in the portal era.
So these last 2 years, like Kentucky's had Georgia and Texas on the ropes. Like Texas, obviously not as good, but still pretty good. They've had, arguably should have won both of those games. So it's like, even when fan base is down and think, everything's bad, like they weren't that far off. And even going into the Steins' first year, I don't think they're super far off from being competitive. I'm not saying they're going to win the league or anything, from being competitive and winning, being in a position to win 7-8 games.
That's a good point. Stein said as much to Andy Staples too. I mean, there's some talent there. There was some opportunities. They didn't take advantage of them. They didn't make the most of them, and that's why there was a change. It was an exciting time during that coaching search. It didn't. Fortunately, it didn't provide the same amount of yakety sacks as the Penn State head coaching search. Give me one moment, Luckett. Let's play a game. How long did it take Penn State? How long did they go without a coach? I want to say it was like
that was a long time.
97 days. What's your guess?
I want to say they fired him like October 15th, and I would say 97 is a lot.
Yeah, that's too much. I
would say
went the length of a season.
62.
Yeah, you were much closer. I got a little too boisterous. 54 days without a head football coach.
Yeah, right at 2 months. Yeah.
Because and the reason why, it felt so long is because they were the first to the market and they were really the last ones to get one. Now, I think
if I think for them, it probably felt really long. But like, even when the carousel goes on for really, it's kind of a week to 10 days where it's really hot and heavy. They were like the straggler out of that.
Yeah.
Still open. That's why it felt like, oh, what's going on there? And it felt like, well, they had all them targets kind of leaked to them, and then guys sign contract extensions, and then it gets leaked out that they're going to hire Sataki.
Yeah.
And they don't hire Sataki. Well, Sataki turns it down, essentially. Crumble Cookies gets involved. The Crumble Cookies is another one.
Crumble cookies. Oh, James Franklin having Crumble Cookies served to the media at their National Signing Day press conference. That is a one of sport.
You want to talk about a petty man.
James Franklin, man. Oh, God.
He might have a room somewhere in his house of derogatory tweets about him, and they're just hung up. And he just walks in there every morning before work and just like breathes in the haters.
Well, I mean, we know Shane Beamer does that, so wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, that was a good moment from signing day. Another one, Nick, is just the essentially having the draft before the draft and free agency before playoff.
Yeah, the whole calendar. Yeah.
And then like taking in hindsight, I get why they did it, and I kind of liked it a little bit better, taking some time off. But like it was like, why? Almost you should have just got it out of the way.
I liked it personally because it, like right now, all the NFL people are on vacation, and we weren't going out on vacation or anything, but it was
nice to get a couple weeks off. Yeah.
Yeah. So like kind of like, all right, we can exhale a little bit.
I just meant for the sport in general to just get it done with. If like why do they need that time? I guess is my argument. But yeah, personally, I did I enjoyed it, but it was still the same. Like it was still. No, it's rather. Do you want 2 weeks off, or would you rather just get it done with?
And ultimately it all comes down to the people inside the room because they're the ones who push for this, right? So, are they going to see any differences? I don't know, and it's hard to. We can't really ask the guys at Kentucky because that was unlike any other situation before, too. New coaching staff, so they got a lot more needs, and they're double dipping the whole time.
Roster together, yeah.
So like it's impossible to really get a clear.
Well, just in general, it doesn't make much sense to have it while your postseason's going on. It seems pretty stupid. I wonder. Now that we're on this topic, I wonder because the Big Ten pushed for this on. It actually, Andy and Godfrey and Ross Dellinger had a really good conversation about this. I believe it was last week on their Yahoo podcast. What's that called?
College Football Inquirer.
Basically, like, the Big Ten pushed for this, but the reason they did it was because weather. Like, you can have weather issues, like getting guys to campus. Kentucky had that, like after the portal, but you could have that at places. A winter storm rolls in, it can be hard to get people in at some places. And you just don't want, if you're recruiting a kid from Florida and bringing him to Rutgers in December, like it can be a hard hard, you got to live the life of the hard sell if you're doing that. But it makes more sense to kind of do it in like April or May, but it would have to, it would break their just whole structure in the organization.
Yeah.
Like
and they don't want to do that. They don't want to make
structure of college football. Building a team is like, you have the team, winter workouts in January and February, doing whatever else kind of install stuff you do, spring practice, break from that, take some time off in the summer, come back, do more of your workouts, and then, build into your practice. But if you do the OTA thing, like how could you replace that? Because that's how the NFL does it. Season's over, players get a couple months off. They're supposed to work out on and stay in shape on their own. And then you report back for the OTAs and for it's a ramp up period essentially to get you to the season. Like would college football have, any interest in doing that, which for the fans and us, it would make it interesting because basically if you did it, you would move everything out and you would maybe have, you probably would still have the signing day in December. I don't know if they would or not, to be honest. Would kids want to, if they're not working out, would they be a push to sign and get there? I don't know. But say you move the signing, you would have the signing day, you build up the signing day in February. Portal opens in April, whatever. You have the portal April, May, and then you would have OTAs and you could cover all those practices right then. And then you get some time off. That would be talking season. After talking season, then camp starts. So you would have really from April to December would be the season essentially. So it kind of would feel like the season is longer because there would be more stuff like piled on top of each other. Where now, the season just feels like it's forever, but it's kind of like got these breaks in it. I guess it wouldn't be as crazy for how it gets when everything's piled on top in December and January. So I wonder if there's any appetite to go in that direction.
Yeah, because it really is hard a lot of stuff slips through the cracks. And when it's such an important, it means everything. Well, shouldn't you give it time to happen then if it's such a significant big deal instead of just, 2 weeks? Like that, it's crazy time. And it's just, honestly, I had a hard time adjusting afterwards. I felt like I was like an addict coming off of trying to wean myself off. I'm like, this is my phone. Like Pete Nako's tweet. Well,
it was
a transfer.
To your point, it was nice having like that December time off, especially with Kentucky not being a bowl game.
Yeah, and like dealing with kids and holidays and stuff like that.
But it was also like I felt like I was sitting around waiting for the portal stuff. Where it was just like some part of me wanted to just get it over with. There, December.
Well, at least in our case too, there was like new coach content, so it kind of gave you some time to do all. Because like, imagine if they were doing the new. I think the reason why new coaches probably pushed for it is because they had to have a staff to be able to get a portal class. You know what I mean? Like if you're getting hired,
you have the carousel has its own like built-in window too in that calendar I talked about.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if they're smart enough to fix it. I doubt it. We're going over to court to get people eligible.
That's government. They'll go to government. So can you make us a schedule?
Yeah. Ted Cruz, help us.
Can we get a codified schedule from?
It's a silly sport, but we love it just as much as some of you out there love watching Diego Pavia's mom strutter stuff at Vanderbilt Stadium.
Yeah, and
he was a content machine. I will say,
I'm just Theo Vaughn, right?
Well, the part where like if Theo Vaughn was kind of joking about his mom and Pavia was like a fan, but then like I'm pretty sure Theo Vaughn and Pavia's mom actually became a thing. I don't know. That was just a whole weird part. But I thought what was cool was off season he goes on busting with the boys and is like, "We're about to run Tennessee," and then Pavia went and dropped 270 passing yards and 165 rushing yards.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. They win 45-24, beat the snot out of Tennessee.
I don't know if any of our listeners watched that because that was in kind of Kentucky just got their doors blown off. We were kind of on Stoops' watch.
Yeah.
But I do remember being at Roosters and that game was on, and they honestly took it. They were taking it to Tennessee specifically. In that second half, it was
tied at halftime, and then they outscored them 24-3 in the second half.
Yeah, they took it. They took it to him. I do think it's interesting with Pavia. The year before it was his brothers.
Yeah,
that's who they were interviewing. They'd showing all the time was his brothers, and then his mom just like shows up this year, and then like then we don't hear anything about the brothers. And then I think one of his brothers did get arrested at the Tennessee game.
Yeah, it's drunk, disorderly conduct.
Yeah, and I think the other ones have gotten kicked out of like 2 SEC stadiums, like non-Vanderbilt stadiums. Like just, you want to talk about writing a book or a documentary?
Content machine. Rich, speaking of the last thing I had written down, so London Seymour got arrested last week. He's, Georgia football player arrested. Which one? Right? Like, this happens all the time. But so many Georgia football players get arrested that news publications didn't bat an eye when they reported that he was tagged with 131 felony accounts of property damage. 131. Like, it would be very hard to damage 131 things. It would. I'm like, 131? What? Well, they end up going back, there was an error in the jail county's system. It was 11, not 131. I'm like, well, no shit. Couldn't have been 131. So, lucky. I found out what exactly it was that he got arrested for. And this is funnier. The driving stuff, funny but dangerous. This one it's a TikTok trend, apparently. The door kick challenge. It's where you bang on residential doors and then run away. So they're playing Ding Dong Ditch.
Dong ditch.
They're playing Ding Dong Ditch on TikTok, but Big Seymour, it's Richard Seymour's kid. He's so damn big that he's just breaking all these doors in a dorm room, and so they arrested him.
I mean, honestly, it's not like it's a. I wouldn't say it's a crimeless crime, but it's just like
a victimless crime. Yeah,
victimless crime. I don't know why I said crimeless, but it's kind of just college kid being stupid.
This is not like it's like Boom Williams bringing his BB guns. Boom Williams and Drew Barker having the BB gun fight, and it's shutting down campus. It strikes me as something that would have happened in Freddie's time too, where Jerry Bell is playing Ding Dong Ditch, but he just knocked down the doors.
Is Fire in the Hole a TikTok trend?
Which one's that? The
you get a water at a fast food restaurant, you scream fire in a hole and dump the water on them.
Yeah. Did you ever hear about the roast beef thief?
It's the same as the goose wrangler.
So the roast beef thief, what they would do is they would go to the fast food and they would order a bunch of food. And as the person was handing you your order, you'd have like 12 beef and cheddars or something, right? It was like the 5 for 5. So you get 10 beef and cheddars. Somebody else in another car, I mean, they would run out and swipe it and then jump in another car. And you'd be like, oh my God, this guy just took all my food. And so then they would have to, what? And then they would make you your order again. And so you double your roast beefs.
I knew someone, a friend of the program even, would go to Cane's at UK. They would call out a random name. Would go up there and take the food. It got so bad, and he did it so much that they knew when he came in. Like they would be chasing him out. Yeah.
It does make you wonder at some of those places where, a Starbucks or whatever, where they just have all the cups out with the names on them, especially in a big city, how that doesn't happen more frequently. But man, we really went down a weird rabbit hole there of petty crimes. And that's what will happen when you get into the random off-season episodes of 11 personnel. But we need to get our rest. We got to recover. We've been running too much. Lucky's got a 10K to get to next week. We will be back next week to talk a little more football before he does make his way to the desert. Hopefully the Cats can get it done in Gainesville. What was that number, Lucky? It was a big one. Did you see
11.5? I mean, yeah, it's a tough.
Yeah. No, I thought it'd be even bigger, honestly. Like they're probably not gonna win. They're very good inside.
Yeah.
Moreno gets
it would be
it
would be one of the best recent road wins in Kentucky. I mean, over the last 10 years, it would rank there towards the top, in my opinion.
Even more so than being Cal at Arkansas.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, actually, people should be talking about Florida more about beautiful force than they were the Arkansas one. But I get why people do that because it was the whole Cal thing, and it was that off the Vandy game, the Arkansas one?
Yeah, it was right.
Yeah, I get it. But that's just that week reminded me of college football, week to week, how it can just be so up and down. I don't ever remember basketball specifically following Kentucky being like that, but this team Kentucky has is like that.
Yeah,
and that reminds me of a college football season. It can be very up and down, and I think we've seen some of that with Kentucky over the years on the gridiron.
Well, we're going to get some college baseball this weekend, too. That's kicking off. I'll have plenty of that to share with you over the weekend. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us on 11 Personnel. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats, and go Crow.